Hey friends, it's Lisa and I'm back today showing you how I ink blended these die cuts. I'm starting off with these templates that I made. So if you remember from my last video, I stamped and watercolored those two templates that I'm putting off to the side because those are all done. Today we're only worrying about these four. In the next video, I'm going to show you the very back of the window scene, which is an ink smooshing technique, and then also how I colored and designed the covers of my little book that I'm making. So just to be clear, what I'm doing here is I put the template on that blank piece of paper, and I'm using this template which I created last time. It's a 5.5 or something, no, I think it's a 5-inch square. I'd have to go back and check. Oh wait, I have it right here. Haha, surprise. I'll tell you the exact measurements. It is a 5x5 square, which is basically the aperture of this window box. So I only do this on this one, on this very front, because I want to make sure I mask that off because I really wanted a white edge. You'll see that as it comes along. Then what I'm going to do is put that template back over, and I'm going to lightly draw in the lines, basically where I want different colors. So you'll see I'll put some circles around the bottom where I want purple, then some places where I want the greens, and then also around right where I'm coloring the little wispy things. I forget what you call them, but you blow them and all the things go off and fly different ways. So that's pretty much the technique. I'll show you once again with one of the other dies. Since the aperture on those is more defined and I'm not worried about the edges, I don't need to put in the bottom edge or put the 5x5 square back over it to find out where to mask it. The only ones I masked are the top page because you're not looking at it without the top page, right? So here I'm just following the main outline of this image, and then I'm also going to put a circle. I don't know what kind of shape you'd call it since it has bumps, cloud-like shape over the flowers. So I'm going to color below that oblong shape green. I'm going to blend it, and then over that shape pink. I really thought hard about how to blend onto these die cuts, and it wouldn't have taken as long, which just didn't take all that long. I was surprised. I didn't think it would take so long if I blended on the die cut, like die cut it first and then blend, because you're blending a much smaller space. But with such small die cuts, I was really afraid that I would just blend them off, be blending too hard and pull the little die cuts off. So I decided to do this technique, and it actually worked out really well. I thought it turned out very professional. You don't get creases in the little die cuts. Instead, it just looks real nice. So you have to know you're not going to get precise lines anywhere. Sometimes the pink went further down on the stalk, and sometimes you just didn't get like some of the stalks you don't get green because you weren't able to put it exactly where it's supposed to go. So I blend, is that the right word? I don't know. It is late at night for me, so forgive any of my voice issues, but I'm going to the beach tomorrow, and I have this one all edited and ready to go up, so I'm trying to get this voiceover done. I just used the purple of the 3 purple colors from the Harmony Inkpads, and I'm going to show you all of my blending on the Harmony Inkpads. I am showing the first part where I did the purple was at regular speed. I believe the rest of the video I sped up just because you don't want to sit here for 2 hours, which was how long the whole thing took. So, which actually was not all that bad. I'm going to be making another one of these. Well, I'll make 2 identical ones, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Harmony Inkpads with possibly a little bit of the Distress Oxides mixed in. But I really like how you can get a nice blend of colors from having 3 of the same color family. I thought it just turned out really, really nice. And these ink pads blend and have done a lot of really cool stuff. So I'm excited. Next I'm using some of the greens and then the blue. This one blue because sometimes you want to get different shading in there. So adding a little bit of the blue will give you a different green than just going with the 3 that you get. So it actually, I did this first one and I was like, I'm done. That's it. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, this must be harder. I need to go back and do more things, but I didn't. You just go in and blend. It's so smooth. Sometimes you can use the vegetable glycerin, which I have a whole ton of, and is going to take me a lifetime to get through. Because I was like, should I get the 5 ounce or should I get the 15 ounce? And 15 ounce was only $1 more expensive. And so I went with the 15 ounce and I used literally a drop, like a day. You know, when you use it, you use like a drop. So I'm never going to get done with it. But you don't need it with these Harmony Inkpads. They just blend so smoothly and easily. It's a lot of fun. So here I am just blending in. You can see I put some of the darker green in different spots, some of the blue, and used the very vibrant green to blend it all together. That would be one suggestion I'd say, is that if you go from light to dark and then do the very lightest one again, you'll get the best results. So then I'm going to peel off the tape and I save it because I can use it on the next ones. No use wasting it. And since you don't have to blend that hard, you don't have to push real hard, you don't have to blend really long time, I didn't have any issues with my lines. The masking tape just peeled off perfectly. So, and when it did, there were no issues. So, really, I've really enjoyed these Harmony Inkpads. I'm very excited to add them to my collection. I was a little nervous. Oh, one important thing, I do mark on the back if you're doing what I'm doing and have a bunch of different ink pads, because I'm using this book as a technique book. This isn't the next ones I do. This was a trial, see if it was going to look any good, and a technique book. So I'll keep this in my craft room with my craft stuff, and then if I'm like, oh, well, I want to do a blending technique and I want to use specific colors, or I want it more vibrant, then I'd go to this book and say, oh, the most vibrant of my ink pads is going to be the Harmony inks, which is true. I found the Harmony inks to be the most vibrant, and you'll see that in a video or two when I show you the whole book all together. And they're much more vibrant than the Distress or the Distress Oxide, and especially more vibrant than the archival. I think for what I was trying to do, the archival that's not their strong suit, and so The archival had issues. It didn't really compare to the other three. The other three I really like, but they also have a lot of differences. So, which is good. You want different things. So, I am going to create another book where I'm going to do 4 different scenes. And I'm going to do a summer, fall, winter, spring theme for the fairies. So then I can put it on a little frame holder upper thingy. You know that you put books in, or if you look at the very beginning, you see I have the pictures on a little acrylic stand or easel kind of thing. That's what I'm going to have that book for. It's going to be house decorations, and I can just switch it in different seasons is my plan. So, one of them's going to have snow. It'll be so cute. Little fairies in the snow. So that's my plan, and I was telling my mom about it, and she was like, make me one. And I was like, okay, Mom. So, I'm going to be making 2 identical ones, but it'll be very cute. So, this was a trial and a technique book. I like doing things together, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on something if it was going to look crappy. There's some things I can do a little bit better, but I'm excited to try. So, here I am adding the green. You can see I don't blend the girl. I decided to use some mini daubers to do that. What I need to get is some finger daubers, because I think you could have done this without blending quite so much, and with just the little finger daubers. So if you didn't want to do what I'm doing and blend the whole sheet, you could always just finger dauber it on the die cuts. I think it looks better blending it fully like I did, so I'll probably continue to do that, but it's another option. So here, I felt like, for the most part, all my ink pads were very juicy. That far left one, the lightest blue, is probably the least juicy of my ink pads. I have heard a few people who said that they had some dry ink pads. I've also heard if you use the Tim Holtz Refresh sprayer that then there's no issues. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy these, because really any ink pads you get, there's a chance they're going to be a little dry. My Distress Oxide Black, I need to buy some re-inker for that, because it was just about dry when I bought it, and I just haven't bought the re-inker yet because I have nowhere to store it, and so I just haven't had to worry about it. Once I move into my house, then I'll buy it, and I can worry about storing it then. So I wouldn't worry if you've heard reports, because of the 12 ink pads I bought, I had one that was a little bit dry, and all the others have been very juicy. Excuse me, very juicy. So I also want to point out on my ink pads how I store my blending foam. I store it under the ink pad. There are a couple ways you can do that. I have tried where you put the Velcro or the hook and loop tape, the hook part of the hook and loop tape, if you put that under there, and then you just stick the black part of the foam pad up to that, then you can then you don't have any issues. Oh, here I decide not to actually use that tape, just FYI. Oh, no, I do. Sorry, we're on to the Distress Oxide. I'm sorry. I totally was thinking I'm going crazy. Anyway, I've done where you put the hook and loop tape under, but then you get your ink from the blending foam on everything, because I use my blending foams a lot, so they're always inky. I don't have to worry about that. So what I do is I take the 2x2 coin pouches, cut them apart, if I have glue in my large Xyron, then I put them through the large Xyron and then cut it out. If I don't, then I cut them out and then put them through my mini Xyron Create a Sticker machine and stick them up under there. I have a full video on how to do this for my Distress Oxides. You can go back and check it out if you're interested. I'll try and put a little link up at the top, and if I can't figure out how to do that, there will be a link in the description to it. No, I'll put a link at the end. I know how to do that. trying to work with what I got. The Distress Oxides blend about as smoothly and fast as the Harmony inks, but you get a different look. They're not as vibrant. They have that chalky look, which is definitely wonderful. I'm not saying the vibrant is better or worse. It's just different, and so when you're wanting something more vibrant, it's nice that you can now get that without all of the struggle. So, next we're moving on to the Distress ink, and these don't blend as smoothly or as fast. So here I am blending them at regular speed, but I'm going to speed it up now. And you can see, I was trying to show you that they just don't blend very fast. It takes a long time. And if you can see my hand, I'm pressing real hard, trying to get all that ink off. The good thing about what I'm doing here, where I'm using the die cuts, and they're pretty small die cuts, I don't have to worry too much about super smooth blending. But when you're doing a large area, you want it to look smooth. So the Distress inks may not be your go-to if you're doing a large area blending. Or you can use some glycerin and it'll make it a little bit easier. It does dilute the color just a little bit, just so you know. On the Distress inks, I'm trying to match the colors as well as I can to the Harmony Inkpads. That's something you'll notice I tried to do throughout, is use approximately the same colors on each of the different types of ink pads. That helps me actually look and see what I want to use for any given project. But sometimes you can't get it perfectly. I did use the same colors for the Distress and the Distress Oxide. So here we are on the archival ink, and you can see it is a lot more painful of a process. It took a lot longer to do. But I do like how easy these little foams are to store. They just fit right in the bottom. And the archival ink has a lot of good properties. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them. I like to use them in my mixed media projects a lot, since once they dry, they're permanent. Unlike some of the other, or all of the other inks, once they dry, you can still pick them back up and affect them with water, which is good for some techniques, but sometimes you want something to just get down and stay, and that's where I use the archival inks. That's why I have the mini ink pads of them, because I don't use them enough to warrant having the big ink pads, but when I want to use them, I want to have a lot of different colors. So I'm not going to show you the rest for this one because it took a while, but I just blended and blended and blended. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you were able to come, and check out on Monday, I have the final technique video for this little book. And then on Wednesday, I'll have the actual putting the book together. It turned out super cute. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.